Yeah. What's up? It's your boy Chase, aka Chickatet, aka Symmetry, and we are back with another Cosmic Conversations. We got another question. Again, I got these stockpiled at this point. Hit me up if you have spiritual questions. Just equate it to the spiritual realm so I can break it down to the mental physical realm so that it's not just like some straight up physical shit, and we're getting lost in logical details that are just made up by either you or someone that got you trapped in some shit. That's not what we're here to talk about. Spiritual stuff. So, this question, pretty fucking fire. Um, this person just came at me like pretty short, for real. Hey Chase, what's the difference between living and existing? To me, it seems that everything that lives exists, but not everything that exists lives. Am I getting somewhere with this? I mean, 100% yes. Like, I obviously picked this question for a reason. This person, I assume, not assume, from the way that they're asking this question, yeah, they're trying to just completely, they want to know the difference between a human that's living and a human that's existing. Sort of like the difference between like thriving and surviving, which then would just sort of come down to the soul naturally when we're talking about having the right feeling to pursue whatever mission or goals that your spirit made your body for the purpose of in that realm. So when we're talking about this person, like, I like this question a lot. Um, it shows me you have ambition, bro, to be thinking about things in that way, because you're definitely seeing a lot of people around you. You're asking this question from a space of almost certainly seeing a lot of existing around you, a lot of people who aren't necessarily like living, and you're now in this part of your life possibly where you don't want to just exist. You want to live. But you are, of course, asking me for the purposes of this conversation what what living looks like. Like, what is the difference between living and existing? So, as I already just sort of prefaced, it's about the soul, right? It is about getting in touch with your feeling. We'll break it down way more for you though, because that is an essential question for everybody to think about, myself included, which is why I'm very excited that this person asked. It gives me hope for the 15-year-olds and lower down there, high key. Um, because, yeah, a lot of people are about to get trapped in this virtual reality. Whatever. We're not living and existing. You want to live, you don't want to exist. So, what is existing? We can look at exist. It is exit. All right. So, right there, let's think about that. When you exist, you are exiting, you are on the way out, basically, right? Like anything that exists is going to die. So, that's sort of the point in that word, where we can see that things that exist exit. They are always on the way out. They're always transforming, basically. They're always going to end. So this is why like everything is spiritual, because the spirit is nothing. So the spirit can't exist. You feel me? Like the spirit has to create darkness and light, and then masculine and feminine, positive and negative, yin and yang, and mix these things together in an infinite number of ways to express itself. And then we're all individual spirits, so we're all doing that together. That's infinite realms, we're all connected, universe shit, right? So that's what we're doing. Like, we create existence because we don't exist. You feel me? And when we say nothing exists, right, that's still true because spirits are no thing. So as all of these individual forms of no thing, we create existence together. We exit from our space, right? We all have our own home in the spirit realm where you're like completely safe. No one can touch you, and it's all just your imagination and dreams, but you're alone. And because spirits don't like being alone, they exit, right? They have to exist. So they step out of that nothing space and then they exist. And they go and decide to connect with other spirits. And to do that, the spirits who want to connect in the first place have to create forms that can interact. So that's what we're doing here on Earth, right? We are all individual forms of nothing that can't communicate and interact otherwise, until we create the imagination, the desires that resonate with the imagination desires that we can fulfill here on Earth, on this planet. And then, two, the water, we come in and feel like connecting. We feel like projecting our consciousness and reflecting that world back into ourselves so that we can experience it. And yeah, three, fire, water, merging our imagination, our own personal desires from the spirit realm that no one can see, in with the water, the connection that all spirits have made so that they cannot be alone. And that's air. And then that's the atmosphere. And that's the three. And so that's the balance, all the universe, all of existence, right? Is this. It is spirits being nothing, dancing in their imagination from being nothing, feeling like, because the one thing they can't do on their own is connect with spirits that are not them, right? Like you can imagine anything that you want, right? Like you can just sit down, imagine anything outside of this world, imagine whole new systems, anything that you want. But it's just like it's not relatable, right? Like if you're just imagining shit, no one has any concept for that. That's too fire. You would burn up the whole environment with your imagination and nothing would really be productive. So that's where the polar opposite of fire, you have to create two. You have to create the water instead of the one. You have to learn how to reflect other people's imaginations and other people's desires and dreams so that you can actually exist and connect with spirits that are not you. And then the balance is the three from there. All of existence is spirits relating their individual imagination together based on how they resonate. And now we have languages and bodies and vibrations and dimensions and, spaceships and planets and stars and just all these different names for worlds, realms and realities, repeating things because we're just on repeat. We're just dancing together, at war together, interacting in this way, right? So the whole point of this series is me giving you the keys so that you can be way more aware in how you interact, because the truth comes out when we talk, right? Like, two, being water. This is your question. Fuck it. Two, being water is, with it being all about feeling, it's about projection, and the truth never comes out without talking. So that's where, if you just have thoughts inside of your head, but you never share them with people, you're only ever going to be able to project out and think about it from the space that you're already in. And that's hell, right? Like that's staying like in between the one and two. That's like having an imagination desire and then relating with it, but like not liking that relation and thus never communicating it really outwards and like never learning about it. And that takes a lot of humility and all that, right? Lessons that we're here to learn on Earth, which is why we're talking, right? We're communicating. We have these vocal cords and this tongue and all these teeth and everything. Uh, so, I mean, it's clearly our purpose, a big part of our purpose on this planet, is having cosmic conversations, my guy. So this is a cosmic conversation. This is very important when we're talking about the difference between living and existing, because people, spirits who exist, when they project their consciousness, when they feel like connecting with another realm, with another imagination, so that they can feel alone, so that they don't feel alone, and they can hang out with other people. Something happens where, I mean, that's existence, basically. In fact, I'll put it like that. That's existence. We have to bring life to existence. It is this. Because anything that you see exists, and anything can exist because everything comes out of nothing, aka the imagination. So all things are truly possible. Of course, is then when we're talking about living and what does it mean to live. And I want you to also notice the word love, basically, and how love and live are the same, except that love has an O or a zero, and live has an I or a one. And we're breaking this number shit down because we're on the set, building blocks of life. I don't even think I mentioned that. Whatever, you're gonna see it. So when we're talking about loving and living, love is the space. Like that's what true unconditional love, right? Is not directed to any one individual. A love is about the spirit. Like gods who truly love, they love the spirit. So when they then understand that all things come from the spirit, you have to love everything. You have to. Like it's an obligation. The way you interact with that love is different, of course. But this we're talking about like truly ascending, right? When you can love the spirit, when you truly love no thing, because you love the grand design of all, because you know it's all connected and that you're also a big part in creating your own life and reality, then it's lit. That's love. Like you get to appreciate and really see the quote unquote beauty, whatever. You can see past the words. This is the English language. I like appreciate, value, everything. Like especially your enemies, right? Like you're not a person who, when someone argues with you, you all of a sudden hate them, or like you have a friend and you're like awesome friends, but then once they step on your toes or do something that challenges your ego, you get upset, cut them off, and like talk shit or whatever. Like that's like the opposite of the point. Because if you came to be with others, then it's all about actually learning to connect with others. Because a lot of people, a lot of spirits, when they come to a space and they feel like connecting, uh, they're still in that one energy. They're still, they want to just relate their imagination desires to the world without really caring about the other people in that world. And that's not love, right? That is what it means to live. Okay, so now we're talking about when we bring living into existence. So true living comes from love. A lot of people will live without love. That's some different a little bit. No, we're whatever. We'll get there. When we're talking about love, love being the zero, one comes from zero. So this is where the idea like living all life comes from love, because that is just the zero going to the one. The love would be, let's just say hypothetically, you're in a environment, you're in a world that was created by beings. Like literally, you're in a space, right? That was created by spirits who love you. You don't know who these spirits are. So these spirits love you so much that they created a whole space for you to learn about yourself in. And because of that, that gives you the opportunity to live, aka being your one energy. Now you don't really even need to love to live, because other spirits love you so much, they allowed you the opportunity to live in this simulation. It then allows, you to live. And again, living is relating your ego and like really loving your ego. That's what like living versus loving is. So if you love life, then like that's great. You are like in a good balance. If you're just living without love, then that is that's like right above existence, right? Like existence, like we're saying, the difference between existence and love, or existence and live, and bringing up love. Existence, exit, it is on the way out, it's dying. This is the physical realm, the physical realm. It already exists, but we have to bring life to it. And really, the physical realm or the physical realm exists out of love for just creation, or else it wouldn't be there, right? So it's easy then for like a spirit who did not create that space or whatever to step in and be afforded the opportunity to hate everything, hate themselves, uh, and treat all the other spirits in the space that they're inhabiting horribly, why from a fear mind state of like not knowing what's going to happen when they leave that space, right? um and that's the idea when we're coming down to like what it truly means to be spiritual, like what it really means to know that everything comes from nothing. So you can't actually be scared, and you can't actually fear what exists because you're creating existence. But it's truly this awareness of being the creator versus the creation. And when you are living in creation mode, when you believe someone else made you, yeah, that's infinitely dastardly. Like that's a hell that you can never escape out of. Like any glimmer of light is only at the whim of some darker force or some shit. Like you feel me? That's not the move. You know, like the only way to have control over your life is to be the creator of your life, not the creation, or else you're giving your power away. Now, as bodies, we are created by higher forms of ourself that cannot exist in this realm. This is what we're talking about. Literally, spirit. Spirit, no thing is the highest vibration frequency ever. Like you can't imagine it. So anything that you can imagine is spirit externalizing itself. So exist, externalize. This is all EX. This is all about something on the outside, on the external, to represent your internal. And that's all we're doing in all realms and realities. No matter what you see, no matter what you're going through, this external thing, it may not have been made directly by you, but you chose to exist in that realm and then interact with that thing at that time for a reason. And the reason should be that you love yourself. So it's a part of your life. And as it being a part of your life, you're able to relate it to you as an individual. And with true empathy, you completely are aware that other people, every other spirit is having the same experience you are of life. And actually, the moment you become spiritual, you're in a space where genuinely you're going to be able to understand others and others can't understand you, because that's the point of the ego. The ego is so consumptive that it can't see outside of itself. So once you're finally able to step out of your ego and you appreciate your ego and you use your ego, right? You're using your ego. You're not used by your desires. You're not used by your imagination. You use your desires, you use your imagination to do whatever the fuck you want to do. Hopefully, what you want to do benefits the universe. All right, if you're writing with Thoth and you're actually just taking all my knowledge and shit, please don't be like all these white supremacists and do evil things with it. I'm really not in control of what you do, but honestly, I trust that the universe is not going to bring whack people to these teachings. So, this is what we're talking about when we're talking about truly existing. You exist because you love yourself. And you love yourself so much that you feel like you deserve to communicate your imagination to spirits outside of yourself. Hopefully. I really hope. That's honestly me projecting. That was low key me projecting, bro, because I realized there are a lot of spirits here that actually hate their imaginations and they hate the worlds that they've cultivated internally, their fire, so they connect to other worlds where other spirits hate their imaginations and they create that body of water. And so that's like a planet like Mars possibly or some shit where like everyone's relating on like aggression and like anger and like fighting each other and shit because like they want to fight themselves but like they're tired of fighting themselves. So they want to fight others. Yeah, we're in the universe. This is infinite shit. So as long as you're aware of these things, you're good, right? And yeah, this is it. We're about to wrap it up. Living and existence. We bring life, we bring living to existence, but we create existence first. So if we're going to break it down to threes, living is being in your soul realm, existence is being in your physical realm, and then you, your spirit, your nothing, whatever label you want to refer to the truest essence of you that really is nothing but It's the closest imagination you have to nothing, right? And that's your individual space in the universe. Um, would be spirit. So when you're not living, you are sort of disconnected from your spirit, and instead you're existing, or at the very least, you are have been hijacked, commandeered to live and give your power to something else. And that, as this person who's asking this question is almost certainly dealing with, that's what they're seeing a lot of around them. Is people who are living, right? Like they're alive, but then even then, they probably almost seem like they're just existing because they're not even living for their individual spirit. They're living for something else, for something outside of them. So, I mean, that's this slavery, right? And that's what we're dealing with. Yeah, snap, big time slavery. We got there. uh, don't exist, live. But true living is from love. So that's the whole point. Like people who live, they love themselves. But if you just love yourself, you don't really love yourself because you're not realizing how everyone in your reality and everything you're seeing is also a reflection of you. And if you can't treat the world like, and you can't, if you cannot treat the world with the same love that you treat yourself, then you can say you love yourself, but like you almost don't. Because it's almost inevitable that you're going to have to project out the way you treat yourself to other people. So if you don't love yourself and you don't love the space that you're in and you decide to connect to a world, that's going to get revealed. Like you're going to show your hand. You're going to show that you have internal things because all light that you shine must come from the darkness that your nothingness created. So don't ignore the darkness is why we meditate, sit in it. Yes. Living, loving, existing, love yourself, love others, but really it does come down to loving yourself. Love is truly the boundary. Like when we see that O in love, that circle, that circle is the boundary. Like that circle is your spirit. Nothing should get past the love that you have for yourself, basically. So this is where a lot of the ascension energy is. You will live more the more you love yourself. You'll stop existing. You'll stop uh, wasting away and feeling like you're just not, yeah, not creating art. You're not passionate about your life, right? Because you're not fully connected to your spirit to get all the communications, all the vibrations that your spirit is sending to your body to tell it what to do inside of this realm. So then your body can like easily get lost in here and exist. So now it's just on the way out because this realm is on the way out. You're in hell. Everything's dead until you bring life to it. So that's what we're talking about. And you got to bring life through love. But of course, hate is also the counterpart of love. That's like, you're not supposed to, that's not actually negative. You should hate things. You should hate things. You should hate things that do not love the collective. Um, and I'm not saying let this hate consume you. When we say hate, I mean you use hate to generate energy into the positive direction. When you see things that are wrong, you don't put your energy into that wrongness, but you take how you feel about that and direct it into creating something that addresses that wrongness. And that's also what we're seeing today, right? With all this just political stuff in the world. World's crazy. I don't need to get into it. Everyone knows that they can't really control the stuff itself, but they can control how they express themselves and whatever art they create about that stuff. And then over time, that is powerful in being able to change reality because that stuff that people are addressing was created by spirits in the first place. So it takes communicating about these things so that we can create a better world for ourselves. The world that we're creating for ourselves is not the world that we even like. And people are talking about that a lot. So let's stop existing. Let's stop living out of love for ourselves and one another.